Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm doing something a little bit different. What I'm doing today is ranking every single Manchester United transfer since 2020. Now, look, the reason why I'm doing this is currently we are in the transfer window, and just a little bit of a debrief, debrief for you guys. We've signed two players. Well, three. We're signing like an academy player as well. But we've only signed like two players, and in my opinion, it's not the best window. It's definitely not what United needed going into the season. And I'm gonna make another video talking about a bit closer to the start of the season, talking about whether or not I think United have made enough moves if we want to actually progress on last season. But before we make that video today, I just want to go through all the different players that we have signed so far and put them into a little ranking system. And look, guys, let me know in the comments whether or not you agree, disagree with anything that I say. Also, your opinions on these players, because there's so many players, and I feel like a lot of people have different opinions on all of these players. So let me know your thoughts on all of these transfers. But let's get straight into it. I mean, should we start off? Let's start off with Bayern Day. Bayern there. I'm gonna have to put him in. He's a second keeper. You got a better man. And part of what like my thought process is different things. Quality, as in like just pure ability, how good of a footballer these guys are. Success, how much of an impact did they lead, or how much of the impact did they have on this team being successful? If they weren't impactful at all, or they could have been really impactful in us winning a trophy or whatnot. But yeah, success. Also, value for money. That's really, really important. How valuable has this player been to this team compared to how much we bought him for? So they're like the three main things that I'm looking at. And also, just gauging in general. Some of them are new players, so we're going to take that into consideration. They might not have had as much time as other players. For example, consistency is really important. Longevity is really important. Injuries and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to put all those things into context when speaking about these players. In saying that, Bayern there, I'm putting him D tier. I'm putting him D. The reason why is, first of all, he's a second keeper. So already I'm not really expecting a lot anyway. But let's be honest, the few chances that he got to be the main keeper in the team, he did not perform at all. I remember the Spurs game where I think it was like 4-3 to Spurs. A huge part of that was because Bayern there, had made loads of mistakes, and I just think even he's leaving. I think he's already left, actually. I think he might have left today. I think Bayern there might have literally left today because he wants to play starting, 13 football. But the reality is this level is just it's too high of a level for Bayern there, in my opinion. So Bayern there, D. I'm not going to talk about it too much. Tielemans, I mean, look, let's talk about the two new signings. I mean, we haven't seen Tielemans yet. So I think it's only fair I put him right in the middle. I'm going to put him B. I think he will go into the A tier, and potentially, if United do win something big with Tielemans over the next, 3 to 5 years, he will definitely go into the S tier. But for now, I think B tier is only fair because we haven't seen him in the United top yet. We've signed great players before and they flopped. So, yeah, I'm going to keep him in the B tier. Santos, I've seen him a little bit, in preseason, but it is preseason. We know what preseason Perlo is. We've seen Mason Mount. We've seen all these guys have incredible preseasons. Remember Pereira? I know you guys remember Pereira. We've seen guys have incredible preseasons and then start the year and it's like, who the hell is this guy? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna put Santos in B just because he's a new signing. It's not really fair to kind of put him any lower or any higher. So let's move on. Sene Lamens. I'm so tempted to put him in S, but I'm gonna put him in A. He's only been here for a year. Let me be fair. He's only been here for a year, but he is a signing that genuinely. Let me talk about Sene Lamens because I don't know if you guys know, but he's one of my favorite United players for so many different reasons. One, he does his job. It's the main thing, and it sounds crazy to say, but I just like players that do their job. Just do what you came here to do. You came here to be a keeper. You came here to save. You came here to play out from the back. You came here to be composed, claim corners, make big saves, have great matches when our defenders are not playing well. You do your job. That's what I love so much about Sene Lamens, but also he's humble. You don't see Senny Lamans in Harrods. I mean, you might. You ain't gonna see him in Selfridges. You might, but Senny Lamans is shopping in Next. You know what I mean? He's shopping in H&M. He's shopping in M&S. Like, he's a humble guy. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he's probably shopping in Aldi and Lidl and you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not shopping in Waitrose and like he's a humble guy. Like, you don't care about all the designer and being the face of the club and just chatting nonsense like other keepers have done. He's just here to do his job and go home back to his dogs. That's what I want in some of my players. Like, yes, I understand you have star players in the team, but for a goalkeeper, just come in and do your job. Just keep it simple. Do what you need to do and go home. And that's what I love about this guy. He's just locked in. He's just always locked in. One thing I will say about Sonny Lamans though, and he was the signing of the season for the Premier League last season, which already that should show you how great of a season he had. But one thing I do want to see, if I want to give him any kind of, if I wanted to, not really criticism, but if I want to see anything going into next season, I do want to see a little bit of a dog in some games. Because I think sometimes in big games, especially when our defenders are not acting up, acting properly, sometimes I want my keeper to just impose a little bit of fear in the people around him. You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't think anyone's scared of Sonny Lamans, but they should be because he's that good of a keeper. And I love the fact that he is humble on and off the pitch. But I think in some moments and some occasions, I just want to see a little bit of a dog, just a little bit of a little bit of bite in him. You know what I mean? So Sonny Lamans, I'm putting him in A tier. I love that guy. Sesko, Sesko. I mean, he's definitely not CRD. I wouldn't put him in those categories. He's definitely not S tier yet. He might be, hopefully one day. Would I put him in the same category as Sonny Lamans? I wouldn't. He's B tier. And it feels weird because I put Tielemans and Santos. You know what? I'm gonna drop them down. Because we've not seen them yet. So I can't put them in B tier yet. C is kind of like average. I think I'm gonna put C as like my average tier. But Sesko, I think there's so much more we can see from him. So much more. I think he's a great player. And we saw what he could do, what he did at Leipzig before he obviously came to United, and I don't think we've even scratched the surface of what Sesko can do. I think he's genuinely just easing his way into the team. He started 17 games last year. 17, I think he played 30 altogether. Bear in mind, we didn't play any other cup competitions. It was just straight Premier League games. He started 17. And that second half of the season, I mean, the first half of the season was a struggle for everyone. But the second half of the season, coming off the bench, he scored loads of goals. I mean, there was a run where he was like the top goal scorer in the Premier League for 2026. I'm not even joking. There was a point where he was the top goal scorer in the Premier League in 2026. I think it was one or two goals off by the end because a few other players, I think it was Haaland or Thiago kind of just stepped up. But he had a great second half of the season. So Sesko, but I can't put him in the same tier as Sonny Lamans. Sonny Lamans for the whole season was just top. He was really, really good. And if he does it again, I'm putting him in S. If he does that again this year, I'm putting him in S because that's exactly what we want. But he's only done it for 1 year, so I'll put him in A. Mbumo, put him A tier. I put him A tier. Again, I can see Mbumo having a great season this year. I think, again, for his first season at United, at a big club, you're gonna need to step up, but there's always gonna be an element of pressure. There's gonna be an element of putting stepping into those deeper waters because you have got it's a bigger badge on your chest. Respect to Brentford, but when you're playing in front of 75,000 people, when you're not performing, it becomes a bigger talking point. And I think for a lot of players, that's how they end up struggling at United. But I think in Beamer, from what we saw in general, first half of the season, and even when Carrick came in, that first period where Carrick came in, he was playing decent. He scored like 3 goals, got a couple of assists in the first 5 or 6 games. And then he did he slowed down a little bit, I would say. But I like Mbumo. I think he's got so much more to show, especially now that we're playing Champions League, now that we're playing in bigger competitions. I want to see how he rises to that occasion. But in general, him and there was a point where I was saying Mbumo was going to be our sign of the season. At the point where I thought he could be our player of the season, in fact. So yeah, Mbumo, put him A tier. Højlund, respectfully, I don't even want to be mean. Like, genuinely, I don't even want to be mean, but he just wasn't ready. He just was not ready at all for United, at all. That first season, I get it. I think he's got like 10 goals, 10 to 12 goals maybe, something like that. And there was a bit of like, okay, maybe we've got something here. Maybe we've got a good player, but I think we quickly saw that this is just not his level at all. And other than that, like, I don't have any problem with Haaland at all. I think he was super respectful to the club. I think, I loved his Instagram captions. Like little things like that I just liked about Haaland, but he just wasn't ready for this level. And it was very, very evident that he was part of probably the worst United attack of all time, if we're being honest. Him, Garnacho, and Anthony. I don't think we've had a worse attack than that ever. So yeah, Haaland, detail. Onana, you can sit right now. In fact, you can. Onana might just be last. I'll just say that from now. Onana might be last because not only was he just poor as a keeper, like he just didn't do his job. And like I said before, I like players who do their job. But the problem with Onana was he thought he was better than what he was. In fact, I still think he thinks that he's better than he is. And that's the problem with Onana. If he was a little bit more humble, like other players, and he just understood that, okay, I need to step up my game. Like, I get it. I played Inter Milan, Champions League final, super, a lot of talk on his name. Everyone's gassed about him. Onana, yeah, he's going to be sick. You not see him in the Champions League with Inter Milan, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't show that in United kit. He didn't. In fact, there was points where he was the sole reason we were just losing games. Champions League, sole reason. Multiple games, sole reason. There's an Onana. I remember watching like a 10-minute Onana fail compilation. A goalkeeper who was at the club for 2 years, 3 years, should not have a fail compilation that long. 10 minutes. What are we doing? Onana, like, I'm sorry, one of the worst signings United have ever had. Respectfully, though. Because I ain't got anything personal against him, but yeah, he was poor. Johnny Evans. He's either high C or low B because Johnny Evans was not bad at all for United. He did not put a foot wrong. I think he showed his experience a lot. Bear in mind, this is the second Johnny Evans stint. Obviously, he came to the club in 2008 maybe? He came to the club a long time ago. But the second stint after Leicester, I might put him high. I'm putting him B. I'm putting him B because honestly, Johnny Evans. Let me talk to you guys about Johnny Evans for United. I think a lot of people forget. Johnny Evans was one of our most consistent players when he played. I'm not saying he played every single game, but there were points where he had to play because of injuries, because of suspensions and all these kind of things. And when he played, he was actually good for us. Like, he didn't make mistakes, and that was the best thing about him. Yes, of course, he's not the fastest player anymore. He's not, the most athletic or the most physical player. But what he did well. His passing. Very, very good passer. I don't even remember that goal, the Bruno goal against Burnley, the volley. Johnny Evans on his left foot pings, 60, 70 yards straight onto Bruno, first time volley into the bottom corner. His passing was very good. His positioning, like I said, his understanding of the game, because of his experience playing for so long, was just top tier. Johnny Evans, genuinely, if we had a prime Johnny Evans at the club right now, he would start. A prime Johnny Evans at the club right now, at Manchester United, would start for us. And that's not even a hot take. Like, he was very good, and that was at his later ages. Like, the points where he was supposed to be declining, he was starting games for us, and he was playing well. We weren't complaining that Johnny Evans was starting. So, in fact, there was the point where people were saying keep him for one more year. He ended up becoming a coach. So Johnny Evans, like, I've got to give him credit. I'm putting him B tier. Just behind Sesko. I think I'll give a little bit more credit to Sesko. Being a striker for United is a bit more difficult, in my opinion. Sorry about that. In my opinion. So, yeah, I'll put him B tier. Mason Mount. I spoke a lot about Mason Mount recently. Value for money is where my concern comes for Mason Mount. And also he's a number 7, which I don't care. I know he probably didn't choose it. He might have chosen it, but I know he didn't choose it. But that does come into factor. That does come into play because that's a lot more pressure. You have to perform your number 7. Mason Mount, I put him C tier. Great player. Great player. Mason Mount, great player. But he's been here since 2023 or 2024 now, something like around that time, 2023. I couldn't tell you a standout period of Mason Mount's career at United. Not even forget a season. We know he hasn't got a standout season, but just a period. We're talking about like 6 months of Mason Mount's career where I'm like, you know what, Mason Mount has been a top player for us. I couldn't tell you that. Injuries have just been too much of a concern. But he's a great player though. I'm actually tempted to put him in low B, but I just think to myself, what has he done? Like, what has he actually done to warrant being there? So, yeah, Mason Mount, I'm going to leave him there. Anthony, I mean, his D tier. I'm going to move some of these around. I'm going to put Harden and put Bayern there. Those two keepers can stay last, I'll be so real. Anthony's got to be... Oh, is Anthony D tier? There were some times where Anthony was all right, you know. And there were some... I know it wasn't a lot. But there were times where Anthony wasn't too bad. But for the price tag, what was he, 80, 90 million, something like that? Yeah, he's got to be D tier. I don't think there's really much else to say about it. He just did it, like I said, he's part of the worst ever United attack. He just rarely showed up, just poor performances, just didn't end well, you know. Well, actually, to be fair, he was coming off the bench a lot at the end under Amorim, so, you know, but other than that, yeah, not the greatest. Casemiro, A tier. The thing with Casemiro, though, is, look, I love Casemiro. Like, in general, just as a player, even outside of United as well, just as an overall career, as an overall player, I think he's one of the legends of this generation. And I think you have to put real respect on Casemiro's career, his whole career. What he did for Real Madrid and what he's done for United as well, two of the biggest clubs in the country, and cementing his name in both of those periods to say, yes, I've done my part, I've done my job. Not many players can say that they've done that. For two of the biggest clubs in the country, Casemiro has done it. And I think even for United, you know, he started off really well. Casemiro started off as probably one of our best players. That first season for Casemiro was incredible, you know, and we saw what we saw at Real Madrid to an extent, maybe not the exact same level because Real Madrid was, you know, performing at a different level, at a different peak. But in terms of individual performances, he was one of our better players, one of the best midfielders in the league at that point. It was the period in between where I think Casemiro, not even where I think, as we all know, he definitely fell off, you know, and there's multiple reasons for that, you know, managers, systems, you know, all these different kind of things. There's multiple reasons as to why Casemiro wasn't performing in that period in between, but the way how he ended, I don't think we've had a player, or we've not had many players that have ended on such a high in this period. In this period of even post-Fergie, how many players have we seen end on that high to the point where everyone in every single game was cheering and was chanting one more year. Casemiro, one more year. He left as like an icon. If we're talking about like this post-Fergie period era, Casemiro's seen as like an icon for us. Like there'll be flags and people will be chanting his name forever. If Casemiro was to ever even just visit Manchester or Old Trafford, the standing ovation that he would receive from the fan base, there isn't many players that have been celebrated as much as Casemiro. There's not many players. And the way how he ended, scoring 9 goals in the Premier League, 9 or 10 goals, something like that in the Premier League. 8 of them were headers. And we're talking about like big goals as well, not just like random little. We're talking about like, you know, game winners, equalizers, big games. Casemiro was stepping up, you know. So for that, just for the way he ended, you know, and also the way we started as well. Yes, the middle was a bit iffy, but because of the way he started and ended, Casemiro, you're gonna have to go on A tier. You're gonna have to go on A tier. Moving on, Lisandro Martinez. Put him low A. I'm gonna put him here. He's above Senny Lamens. I've got to give him respect. He's above Senny Lamens. You know what? I might move Mbeumo down. High B. Yeah, I'm gonna put him high B. Oh, it's tough. I think Martinez, we do need to give a bit of respect to Martinez because him and that period where it was him and Varane, I think they were arguably the best centre-back deal we've had post-Fergie. Arguably. there might be other players in there, I don't know. But arguably, him and Varane, that period where we won the FA Cup, we won the Carabao Cup, I think that was an incredible duo. And I think even last season, outside of him being injured, he did step up in big games, and we've seen him step up against Man City, we've seen him step up against Arsenal, we've seen him have great games against big teams. It's just that injury issue which is really holding him back, like really holding him back to the point where there are a lot of fans right now that wouldn't mind seeing Martinez go, which is crazy to me because I think to myself, he's an incredible player and he's a player that we can utilise so much. I think he should be a starting centre-back for United, you know. But I think he had an incredible World Cup as well, actually. You know, I look at him, I think, because of how good he is, we should be looking to keep him. We should be looking and thinking, how can we actually work around Martinez? You know, he can be put next to him that's going to complement him a lot. But those injuries, it's difficult. It is difficult. So I'm going to put him in A tier for what he has done so far at the club. But he should be high A tier going into S, really, by the time he's done. He should be. But like I said, it's those injuries that have really held him back. Malacia, it's got to be D. It's got to be D. He's around here. Yeah, injuries. And even outside of the injuries, he's not been great at all. Yeah, he's not been great. I remember, was it Sevilla? We played a team in the Europa League, and I just remember him playing. I'm thinking, wow, this guy is not a good footballer. Like for everybody else's standards, he's far better than a normal person. Don't get it twisted. But for what we needed, Malacia, he's similar to Haaland, just not as much. In fact, because of that, no. I'm gonna put Haaland. Haaland that first season. I don't think Malacia's had a season as good as Haaland's first season, if that makes sense. So, yeah, Malacia, yeah, sorry, bro. Eriksen. I'm going to put Eriksen just below Mount. I should put him above Mount, actually. Because Eriksen was free. Let's not forget that. It's a free transfer. And he wasn't bad the whole time. There was periods where his legs were going and, you know, he was injured for a little bit as well a couple of years ago. But I think in general, like I said, that first Eriksen year, there was a period where he wasn't that bad. Like he was just cozy. He wasn't. I think his experience is the type of footballer that he is. He can get away with age. He can get away without being the quickest player because he was always 1 or 2 steps ahead. He was great on set pieces. You know, really tidy footballer. Doesn't lose the ball a lot. Keeps possession. Keeps things tidy. He didn't have a great like standout season where I thought Eriksen, that's like he's one of the standout players for us. It does feel weird putting him that much below Johnny Evans. I'm gonna put him here. If I'd even Mason Mount, I'm keeping Mason Mount C actually. I don't want to run some kind of agenda, but I want him to step up so much. But I'll put Eriksen above Johnny Evans actually. Eriksen, good player. I just think it was just the legs and the injuries and whatnot. It just didn't go in his favour. So if we got Eriksen a few years earlier, mate, he'd probably still be here now playing for us. But yeah, Johnny Evans just below Eriksen. Cristiano Ronaldo. Did we put him S? Did I put Ronaldo in S? Nah, I can't put him S tier. Well, do I put him? You know what it is? The way we left was really bad. You know what with Ronaldo? One thing I'll say about him. If it wasn't Ronaldo, I would have made the claim that it just was the wrong player to come to the club. Like, I think Ronaldo at that period in his career could have went to another club and done amazing. Done absolutely amazing. Probably helped them win multiple trophies and could have played a big part in Champions League runs and whatnot. But I think for United, it just wasn't the right fit. It wasn't. Let's be honest, it wasn't. The way how we wanted to play at that time. Bear in mind, this is coming off Ollie's best season, I think. We just had a decent season with Ollie. I think we finished second, top 3, definitely, but I think we finished second on the Ollie. We just brought in Varane. We just brought in Sancho. You know, we still had players like Pogba. He was playing. We had Bruno in the team at the time. Rashford was easing into it a lot at the point. He was getting a lot better. Martial, Greenwood, you know, Casemiro was in the team at that point as well. I think that was Casemiro's first year, maybe the year after, but we were slowly getting into it. You know, Varane, Martinez, Luke Shaw was in the team at that time. De Gea. I'm looking at that team thinking, wait a minute, we can challenge. Like, we can challenge for the title that year, I remember, and it just didn't fit. It didn't fit. And it wasn't a case of Ronaldo was a bad player. That wasn't the case. But as chemistry, as partnerships, as you know, like I said, just gelling with the way we were playing at that time, it didn't fit. And it wasn't his fault. It wasn't Ollie's fault or United's fault. Like I said, I actually feel like if Ronaldo was at a different team, he would have done better and United would have done better. Both sides would have done better if they weren't together. And it hurts to say that because, like I said, I'm talking about Ronaldo right now. That's my GOAT. That's my personal GOAT. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like me, like Mordzs, like Ronaldo's my GOAT. So it hurts to say that, but it just didn't fit. It just wasn't the right move for both player and club. But he was good though. Like the hat-trick against Spurs, big goals in the Champions League, you know, incredible. Even the goal, that volley. Was the volley against Spurs? The volley might have been against Spurs, the free kick as well. Like, you know, he has some really good games, but yeah, but it's Ronaldo, so I'm going to put him in A. In fact, it's Ronaldo, so I'm putting him in S. Who cares? Putting him in S. That's my GOAT, mate. It's Ronaldo. What are you going to do? Next, Varane. A tier. A tier. Varane was incredible for us. Varane was incredible. It didn't end great. I think under Ten Hag, there was a little bit of a dispute at the end of his career at United. But overall, I thought Varane was really good. Part of, like I said, part of the best centre-back duo that we've had so far. And I think, you know, post-Fergie, him and Martinez, I think he showed so much leadership, so much experience. Again, another player coming from Madrid, the biggest club in the world. And he won everything that he needed to win. Won a World Cup, won Champions Leagues. I think Varane was incredible. I think he was great for us. I do think the age kind of caught up to him a little bit at the end, and obviously the problems that he did have with the manager and whatnot, it didn't end great. But I think Varane was great. You know, I think Varane in general, I put him A tier. Sancho, buddy, mate. The question is he before Anthony? Is he after Anthony? That's the question. I'm gonna say he's before Anthony. He's before. It's you know what it is, like it's the attitude, mate. And I hate even using that word for certain players. I hate it genuinely, but the whole freedom and brother, like I actually, shall be honest, I tried to even root for Sancho at one point. Like, there was one point where I genuinely tried to I tried to understand Sancho. I tried to, you know, be on his side and thought, you know what, because young brothers, man, he's a young brother. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see him go down like that. You know what I mean? So I try to, but it's the whole freedom thing and all that kind of stuff. And like, he's not as bad as is Garnacho on this list. Garnacho's not even on this list. Technically, we did buy Garnacho, by the way, so he should be on this list. But he's not as bad as Garnacho. He might be the only person to rival Onana. If Garnacho was on this list, he'd be the only one to rival Onana. And I think he'd win that. He'd win that debate. But Sancho, he wasn't as bad as Garnacho in terms of like just issues off the pitch. But not only was he not great for us, he took a long ass break in between where he just went to the mountains. I don't even know what he did. Yeah, Sancho, and the fact that is he still on our books? He might even still be on our books, you know. Is he finally off our books? I don't remember. But yeah, Sancho, I don't even want to talk about him too long. But yeah, he's D tier. He's D tier. Ahmad Diallo. I'm gonna put Ahmad just before Mbumo. Actually, I might put him above him. Nah. The Liverpool goal for the for the Liverpool goal alone, he's got to be above Mbumo. I think Mbumo overall is a better player. And I think he will go down as a better signing in general, overall. But that moment for Ahmad, I don't think you guys remember. We're playing Liverpool, FA Cup quarter-final. Old Trafford is buzzing, jumping. It's a big game. It's a tight game. 4-3. Back and forth. Both teams are battling it out. The stadium alone is you've never seen Old Trafford like that. I promise you. Anyone who was there, you would have never seen Old Trafford like that. It's a big rivalry, the biggest rivalry in the country. United versus Liverpool, the two biggest clubs. And like I said, it was an intense game, back and forth, cagey, 120th minute. Little old Amad Diallo steps up. It's a fast break. The ball's come out. Garnacho's running. And you can see Amad just sprinting next to him. And you're thinking, Garnacho, make the pass. And he does. It's not the greatest pass, a little bit behind him. So he's got a little bit more work to do. But he takes an incredible touch. And his second touch is a little bit out wide, and you're thinking, oh, has he messed the touch up? Has he dragged it too far wide? Left foot, bottom corner. Scenes. Scenes. That is one of the best moments, one of the greatest moments post-Fergie. Yes, of course, we've seen that the night in Paris. You know, we've had great games, big derby wins against, City, even Liverpool as well. We've had big wins against them. But that goal in the FA Cup, 120th minute, Amad Diallo, he takes off his kit. He shows the world what his name is. To remember the name, Amad Diallo. Wow, what a moment. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. That is one of the best, greatest moments that we probably see in post, like I said, post-Fergie. And it will go down in history. And of course, United go on to win the FA Cup that year, beating City in the final. But it all comes down to that moment, that one goal. Because at the end of the day, if we don't get that goal, it's 3-3. The score is 3-3. We don't get that goal, it goes to penalties, and penalties 50-50. You don't know what's going to happen. So, yeah, wow, what a goal. What is that about? Oh, man. Yeah. So yeah, Amad Diallo, just for that goal alone, he's got to be B. But I do kind of want to put him A, though. But yeah. Cavani, genuinely, A. And does he go above Martinez? I think he slightly might go above Martinez. Cavani was good for us. He didn't play that many games, let's be honest. Like, he wasn't regular starter every single game, but when he played, he did his job. He did what he needed to do. There was a season where he was playing quite a lot. But I think, especially like when Ronaldo came, and I don't think he overlapped with Lukaku. Did he overlap with Lukaku? I can't remember, but he definitely played obviously with Martial as well. There were other strikers and other goal scorers at the team when he was there. So he wasn't necessarily playing every single game, starting every single game, but I think Cavani was great. He showed so much passion, so much energy. Finishing was incredible. He did exactly what we needed him to do, to be fair. He took us through that period where it was a bit of an unknown period and there was a bit, ups and downs and whatnot, but he was a consistent one. So Cavani, I'm going to put you in A. I'm going to put you in A tier. Tellez, he's got to go C tier. You know what with Tellez? Let me tell you the thing with Tellez, right? Tellez is a victim of the Luke Shaw, what do we even call it? He's a victim of Luke Shaw. That's all we can call it, because there's so many left backs that we're probably going to talk about a couple more in this list, but there's some even before 2020 as well. But there's so many left backs that were just a victim of the Shawberto Carlos regen. That's what it's called, the Shawberto Carlos regen. Every time we looked at Luke Shaw and thought, we need to replace him. Let's go and get somebody in the window. Let's go and get Tellez. Let's go and get Reguilon. Let's go and get Malacia. Let's go and get all these different players. Luke Shaw would just come out of nowhere and just become the best left back in the league. He's done it so many times. In fact, he's doing it now. Like, Luke Shaw was injured, not last season, the season before that. And instead of United to go and get a new left back, get a top left back in, Luke Shaw decides to come back and play every single game of the season. Every single game in the Premier League, he decides, you know what, I'm going to come back and play every single one. Which now means that United are in a bit of a situation where they either go and say, you know what, even though Luke Shaw played every single game, we're going to go and spend big 60 plus million on a left back, or we can go and get a cheap left back and just hope that Luke Shaw plays even, does the same thing again. And if it works out, then it's like, okay, cool. Luke Shaw doesn't get injured a lot again, and fair enough. We've got Luke Shaw for the next few years to playing consistently. But as we've seen over the last 11 years, his injury record hasn't shown that. And I think Tellez was just a victim of Roberto Carlos. Tellez wasn't bad. I think he wasn't great. Like, I don't think he was like a standout player. There were some games, I think it was like was it the PSG game? There was a game where, like, I remember Tellez, and I'm looking at him thinking, wait, mate, he's challenging Luke Shaw here. Like, he's challenging Luke Shaw here, but then Luke Shaw just came back and just took his place back. So Tellez, I put him C. Van der Beek. I mean, it's got to be D. It's gonna have to be D to whereabouts. The thing with Van der Beek is we just bought him for no reason. Like, we actually just bought him for absolutely no reason. Ten Hag didn't want him when, obviously, he got bought under Ole, but when Ten Hag came in, for some reason he didn't want him, even though he's a Ten Hag player. Like, literally Ten Hag type of player. But I don't know what happened in training, but something must have been going on in training where the managers must have just looked at him and thought, yeah, you're not it, mate. You are not it. So, honestly, Van der Beek, you can go just after Malacia. At least you were available. Malacia just wasn't available. You can go just after Malacia. Patty Dorgu. Dorgu, it's tough, He's not been there for that long. Been there for what, just over a year, maybe. Is he below Mason Mount? He's gonna be below Mason Mount. I like Dorgu though. I like Dorgu a lot. Is he below Mason? I'm gonna put he's not as good of a player. I think based off pure ability, he's not as good as Mason Mount. So it's not really fair for me to put him. Yeah, he's not as good as Mason Mount. I'm gonna put him below Mason Mount. Aiden Heaven, genuinely, value for money. Below Sesko. No. Value for money. You are never finding a player better than Aiden Heaven. Value for money. Value for money. You will never find a player, or we will never have a player at United that has created more value for the amount of money that we spent. Like, Aiden Heaven could have been bought through the players. Like, the players could have all put money together and bought Aiden Heaven. That's how cheap he was. He was £1 million. Great British pounds. £1 million. Value for money. He could start for us next season and we would be comfortable. Like, I wouldn't complain. If I seen Aiden Heaven first game of the season against Hull City, I would not complain. For £1 million. Value for money. We're not getting better than that, ever. Ugarte, not great. I do want to put him above Anthony, though. Actually, I'm gonna leave him there. Honestly, these guys, I don't even care that much. Ugarte, I kind of feel sorry for him. Like, again, just not his level. It's just not his level. Good guy though. Good guy. Mazraoui. I will put Mazraoui. I put him just below Mount as well. I put him above Mount, actually. I think the versatility of Mazraoui has helped us a lot. Him being able to play right-sided centre-back when we needed to, right-back and left-back. Has he had that many injuries? I don't think he has had that many injuries. Honestly, everyone at our club has had some kind of injury at some point, but nowhere near as much as like a Mason Mount. We've got him for very cheap as well. What, 25 minutes? Was it 25 or 15? Something like that. Cheap anyway. Cheap. So I think, again, value for money, his versatility, his consistency, and also, like, we could really utilise him as well next season. So, yeah, I think, I'm going to keep him in C tier. Delict. I'm going to put Delict here. I really like Delict. I really do like Delict. To me, if we were to start any centre-back, the first name would be to Delict. He would be the first centre-back I would look at and say, he should be starting for Manchester United next season. I think he's the closest centre-back that we have to being world-class. He's the only one that I looked at last season. I thought he might be the best centre-back in the league. Not the best in the league, that's a bit of a stretch. Let me not even do that. But he might be in the conversation for being one of the top centre-backs in the league. He has pretty much everything you need in a centre-back. He's great aerially, I said, if that's even scoring, did he score against Tottenham? Scoring goals, or even just defensively as well. Experience-wise, he's won multiple leagues in different different leagues as well. Captain Ajax at 17. He's a leader, really important. Defensively, he's gritty. You get stuck in. You don't mind if it's a dangerous challenge. He's in there. You know what I'm trying to say? He's in there, 2 foot. I don't even care. And he's humble. I love humble players, man. I love players who are not too erratic and don't talk too much in the media, and he just comes and does his job and just goes home and just, you know what I'm saying, back to his family and that. Like, that's what I like about players. The only problem, I guess, is the injuries, which is just a big factor, man. I mean, he's not even going to be available till the end of the year, which is a big problem. So, De Ligt, as much as I love him and I think he should be our starting centre back, he's literally not even going to play for us for the first portion of the season. So, I'm gonna put De Ligt here actually. I'm gonna put De Ligt here. He's better. He's a better player than Aiden Heaven, and I think he's done more for United than Aiden Heaven. So it's only fair to put him here. But honestly, this next season is a bit of a defining season for De Ligt. If he is injured for a huge portion, or if he doesn't come back, because the back injury it's not an easy injury. It's a big injury. So we're gonna have to see what happens with De Ligt. Amrabat. I'll put Amrabat here. Again, didn't do much. Another victim of Luke Shaw, in a sense of, he bought him as a DM. He had to come and play left back. We didn't have a left back in that position. We ended up going and buying more midfielders because we were playing Amrabat left back. But then Luke Shaw comes back, and all of a sudden Amrabat's just left out to dry. And he's like, well, we don't even need this guy no more. And as well, I don't think he was really the level that we needed. I think everyone got gassed over that one tackle against Mbappe, and just, like Mbappe, Amrabat. I want to put Dorgu ahead of him because I just like Dorgu more. I just think, especially because he's a current player, I want to see what Dorgu can do. But Amrabat, I think that's a decent place for him. Sabitzer, I actually like Sabitzer, you know. Like, I actually really liked him. I saw him at the World Cup as well, actually, for Austria. I think I watched him play Spain. No, I watched him play a couple of games, actually. I think it was Spain, and I watched him play Argentina as well. And he was captain him as well. But I actually liked him. I remember I watched him play in, I think it was the Sevilla game, Europa League. He scored 2 goals, and we ended up drawing that game or losing. I can't remember, but yeah, it didn't end up great. But I remember watching him thinking, this guy's a player. You know, I like him as a sub. I like him, but his time at United wasn't that long. I think we only loaned him. He was a loan, right? I'm pretty sure we only loaned him as well. So because of that, I'm gonna put him here. Better than Amrabat, better than Tellez. 2 new signings. I kind of want to move these 2 new signings, you know, because there really is. I'm going to save them till last. Yeah, I'm okay with that so far. Cunha. Mateus Cunha. Honestly, I'm going to put him up here. I'm going to put him just before Senny Lamens. I think in terms of consistency across the whole season, the reason why he's above Mbumo is because I think he was actually one of our better players across the whole season under Amarim and under Michael Carrick. I think he can play multiple positions. I think there was a point in the season where we were even debating whether Mbumo should even start over a player like Ahmad or whatnot. But I think with Cunha, everyone accepted that at one point, especially in the second half of the season, everyone accepted that, Cunha has to play. And to be fair, I can actually see a situation this season where Cunha starts for us, whether it's up top or on the left as well. Regardless of whether Rashford comes back, regardless of Sesko, I can see Cunha starting in one of those 2 positions. So for me, I really like Cunha. I really like him. I think he embodies what it means to be a United player. You know, that passion, the fight for the club, the fight for the badge. He is a Manchester United player. So Cunha, I just think that Senny Lamens just overall was just so consistent for us, you know. Multiple clean sheets, you know, playing out from the back. He was a great player. But Cunha, he's close. Lenny Yoro. Interesting one. Last season was not a great season for Lenny Yoro. Again, another player that I really like, and I think he's got so much potential. I'm going to put him he was a lot of money. I'm going to put Lenny Yoro just before Mount. No, at least he's available. He did get injured actually at one point as well. Nah, I'm going to keep Lenny Yoro here. I really like Lenny Yoro, and I think he's going to grow into the player that we know that he can be eventually. He's just going for a bit of a rocky start, a rocky period, and we're going to see a way better Lenny Yoro next season, a far better Lenny Yoro. I can already see it. So I'm going to put him here. I think Mount, just the injuries just annoy me. And Mazraoui, I think he's just done a bit more in the United top than the Euro. So I'm gonna put him there. It's a good position. Xerxes. Does Xerxes go above Doggy or below Doggy? I think he goes below Doggy. At least Doggy, I look at Doggy and I think, he could actually have a couple of games where he might even start for us, and I wouldn't complain that much. I wouldn't complain at all, actually. And I think he's had standout games for United, especially, like I said, the second half of that season. The first few games in the Carrick before he got injured, Doggy was incredible. The goal against Arsenal, the performance against Man City. I think Spurs as well, he had a great performance. And even when he came back, he was still great. So, yeah. Xerxes, though, I just think it's tough. I think he's a baller. Like, I genuinely think Xerxes is a baller. It's just, is United the right club for him? Where do we even fit him in? Is he a 10? Is he a 9? Is he a 9.5? He just seems it's a bit of confusion around Xerxes. How do we get the best out of him? Is he coming in to complement other players, or do we need players to complement him? Which one is it? I just don't know. I don't know how he fits in that much. I really like him though, and if we can find a spot for him this year, I wouldn't mind him. But I can see him leaving. To be fair, I can see him going to Juventus, or Roma, whatever team it is. Igalo. He's around here. You know what it is with Igalo? I'm gonna just put him here. And the reason why is because I feel like with Igalo, and this might be a dumb thing to say, but it is. It just felt like we were doing some kind of Make-A-Wish Foundation. Like, it felt like we were just making people's dreams come true. I feel like we've done that a lot with United. We did it with Haaland as well. There's the point where United was just making people's dreams come true. That's literally all it was. But we weren't even buying for the future. We weren't buying for the present. We weren't buying for any of that. We weren't buying to win. We were just buying so we can we can have some people say that, they played for United. They wore the badge. They came out of Old Trafford. They may as well just sign me. Like, they were just making people's dreams come true. And Igalo was a perfect example of that. Like, there was, like, we just bought him in the last day of the window or last week of the window. We were like, you know what? Who wants to play for us? Who wants to play for United this year? Igalo put his hand up and he said, welcome to the club. That was literally what it is. And he wasn't bad. Like, Igalo wasn't bad. Like, that's nowhere near. I don't think it's bad. He did score some good goals. Like, there were some goals where we thought, you know what? Igalo. One more year. No, I'm joking. But he just wasn't a player that we should have been buying, if we're being honest, like, at that time. But shout out Igalo though, you know what I'm saying? African, Nigerian, I don't mind seeing a couple of Africans in the team, man. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Igalo, man. Reguilon, another victim of the Roberto Carlos regen. Unfortunate, but he's in that unfortunate position with Reguilon, Igalo, who else? Malacia, all these guys. They all got hit with the Roberto Carlos, that regen that he always had. Bruno Fernandes, I could cry right now. The greatest player, Bruno Fernandes, man, the greatest player that we've had post Fergie. Let's just take a second to just appreciate Bruno for a second. Look, everyone just put down what you're doing if you're watching this video. Put down what you're doing. Just stop. If you're walking, if you're eating dinner, if you're at the gym, whatever you're doing, just take a second and just appreciate Bruno for a sec, man. Wow. Bruno Fernandes. You know how lucky we are to have this player at our club? And we're so privileged. Like, sometimes you don't appreciate what you have until it's gone. And that's what I'm scared of sometimes. Sometimes I think to myself, like, we have a special player. We have genuinely one of the top best players in the Premier League since he's arrived. Since 2020, Bruno has been one of the top 5 best players in the Premier League, I'd say. Yeah, you could put De Bruyne in there. He's in the conversation, with the De Bruynes and the Salahs and the Haalands and the Rodris and whatever. He's in that conversation, in my opinion. But Bruno Fernandes, man, what he's done for us, like, it's hard to replicate. And I feel bad. Like, I feel bad that there's a chance that he might not be able to reach the promised land at Manchester United, because he should have 3 Premier Leagues. Bruno Fernandes should have at least 2 to 3 Premier Leagues right now. Maybe a Champions League. Maybe even a World Cup. But he should have something. Yes, he's got the assist record, and I'm so grateful that he has that. But we should have given him more, man. We should have given him more. He should have so much in his locker. Bruno Fernandes, what a player. Mate. Weghorst, last one. Honestly, Another player that would just made his dreams come true. Like, another player would just made his dreams come true. Veghorst, shout out to you, man. Shout out to Veghorst. But look, guys, that is a list. With Tielemans and Santos, honestly, like I'm just sticking with A tier because that's where I think they're gonna both be. That's what I think they're gonna both be, or S tier, whatever you want to call it. But that's the list. Let me know in the comments what you think of the list. Any disagreements, any agreements. There are players obviously you can move that. There's definitely players that you could argue could be moved around. But for now, this is what the list is. But yeah, thank you for listening and watching. I'm gonna get out of here and see you in the next video.